Howdy folks, Eoin from EMF, Phil from EMF. We're here today to answer some of the questions we've been asked, let's say in the last week or two, about health and fitness and nutrition. What we're going to do is, the questions I have been asked, or I can remember I was asked, I'm going to ask Phil and see what he says, and he's going to do the same and ask me. So hopefully, if you've been down EMF the last 2 weeks and had a question about health and nutrition, if we answered it at the time, and if you forget it, we'll answer it again and you'll have something to refer to. So, I'll get us started, right? Phil, I had someone say to me, I started a diet plan about 4 weeks ago and I lost weight every week, but the last 2 weeks, I did 6 weeks into it now, the last 2 weeks, weight has stalled. What's going on?
It could be a number of things. Might be after just hitting a plateau. Very, very common. Happens regularly to pretty much everybody that's on this journey of weight loss, weight gain, training. I would say to stick with it as best you can. I know it can be frustrating, but if you can stick with it, the scales might start to move, and maybe next week, might be a couple of days. If not, it might be time for change. To change maybe your training, change something in your diet. Maybe we need to reduce the calories a little bit again. Maybe vary the protein, the carbs, and the fats around a little bit. So a small little change here and there might get the scales moving again. But I would suggest sticking with it. Give it a bit of time and go from there.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah, stick with it as well was the theme of the answer. So, I had someone mention to me, they were talking about a kind of a health food that was like low calorie and would have been a good option for them, but they're like, oh, the sugar content is really high. Isn't that a bad thing?
I don't necessarily think so. I think sugar is a great thing, really, because it gives us the energy. The only problem with sugar is that it tastes really, really good, and it's very easy to overeat it. The foods that have the high sugar, they're just so damn good, and they're so easy to overeat. Just be careful. Have the small amounts of them. As long as you're hitting your calorie deficit, you will be losing the weight. And you know what foods are good, you know what foods are bad, and just stick on track. Stay with the diet.
Bang on. Last one, so for me, was like someone say to me, how can I eat all the food, not train too much, and still get in fantastic shape? And is that possible?
Yes, it is. You have a calorie maintenance, so the amount of calories, the amount of food or energy you will need just to stay the same weight. When you go into a calorie deficit, so you reduce the amount of calories you take, or you're taking in, so the amount of energy you're taking in, you will lose weight, so you're on a lower amount of calories. If you go over that calorie maintenance line, you're in a calorie surplus, you'll generally gain weight. The training itself is just an assistance to get into the calorie deficit, so you're just maybe burning whatever it is in a session. It might be 200 calories, if anything. It is quite low, but it's just to help you get into that calorie deficit. So you will lose weight if you can eat the food, but just stay in your calorie deficit and be flexible in your diet. Enjoy the things that you want to eat, but just keep an eye on the amount that you're actually eating.
So that's not exactly how I answered that question,
okay.
But good response anyway. I literally said that if you want to change your body and you're not willing to do anything with the nutrition and only focus on the training, it's like trying to cut down a tree with a butter knife. You might do a bit of damage to the tree, but at the end of the day, that tree ain't going anywhere. It's going to stay right there. So I would just say to someone, the time machine is the best thing. If you want to get in shape for like next week, the time machine is what you need. But otherwise, train to feel good and diet to look good, and how much time do you have will dictate how much of that you can achieve. Alright, Phil, anything for me? So,
I suppose injury in training is a big thing. I had a lady this morning, suffers from knee pain quite regularly, and she's just wondering what she could do. Does she keep up the training? Does she stop? How does she treat it? what would be your best suggestion on that?
Good question. So I would ask them, when do they feel the knee pain most? If they say, always when I do lunges, I say, okay, maybe lunges is not something we can do here. I'd say, off the back of that, I say, do you feel it when you're squatting? No. Okay, I'd say, okay, maybe squatting is something we can do. That's still a leg exercise that involves the knee, that we can be getting blood into the area, trying to help clear out if whatever is going on, and go from there. Always, I would say, have you been to a physio, a GP, a physical therapist, because it's essentially not our scope of practice, this kind of stuff. Usually we can provide advice and give them a broad kind of understanding of, don't do things that hurt, do things that don't hurt. But if they say, I haven't been to a physio yet, that's probably a good sign. If the pain is bitey, pinchy, kind of knifey, stabby, that's probably an indication of some damage. If it's just a general ache, it can be from time to time just the psychological apprehension of a previous injury. I've had this shoulder fully reconstructed about 4 years ago, and for a long time post the surgery went phenomenally well. As I put my hand over my head to do an exercise, I get a tiny little bit of pain, but if anything, it was just more my body saying, be careful, we've been here before and you effed it up. And I go, it's okay, this time I'm doing it properly and I'm minding it. So just to remember, there's a bit of a psychological part, and if you believe you have knee pain and something's causing you knee pain, then it might cause you knee pain because you believe it was giving you knee pain, whether there was damage occurring or not. But on it, I would just investigate what's causing it, what do they feel is causing it, try and calm them down a bit, and then maybe do another exercise that is helping them, and or refer to physio, GP, physical therapist to get a more qualified opinion on it then.
It's pretty good. I suppose just last one, I had something, we were talking about it last week or maybe the week before. Sugar post-workout, you see kind of there's a big craze of people eating bowls of Cocoa Pops and protein after the workout. What's your suggestion on that? Is it a myth, or is it good for you? Is it bad for you? What's your opinion?
Well, I would definitely say eat a bowl of Cocoa Pops at any time. Stuff's bloody beautiful, like there's no question there. And so that's in response to there being an anabolic window post-training, that you can spike insulin production by shuttling in carbohydrates post-workout. And it's basically not a thing. To give you the shortest answer, it's not anything. It's not worth ever thinking about. There's a tiny bit of theoretical evidence behind it that yes, insulin's involved with shuttling nutrients into muscles, but over the course of the day, it'll do that anyway. This anabolic window is basically marketing for the supplement companies for you to buy more stuff. And for the average person, it will have no effect on their results, positive or negative. The likes of Usain Bolt or Michael Phelps, who train multiple times per day, they may benefit from it because they want to ensure that if they're training at 10, that at 2 they can train again to the maximum of their ability and go win some gold medals. For people like us, and I've been training 13 years, there is no anabolic window for me. I am that natural and average. So don't. If you love Cocoa Pops and you love eating after training, you go eat after training. But I train in the morning, so if I'm like a ravenous beast after my training, I'm going to have like a dinner's worth of food post-training, and then at lunchtime I realise, I don't have enough calories for my actual dinner that night. So after training, I don't eat anything for an hour or two, because one, I don't need to, and two, that helps me, if I'm trying to lose weight, stay in a calorie deficit that day. And you know what? I still have all my muscle. It went nowhere. Magic.
I think that's pretty much it. That's all the questions I have.
Thanks, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll definitely try and do this a bit more often. Thank you, Phil, for your very excellent, not correspondence, but intake in the Thank you.